It has been 3 weeks since the night of my wedding reception, and I am still waking up in a cold sweat, processing the absolute, unadulterated insanity of what transpired. I'm sitting here, staring at the leftover thank you cards we haven't sent out yet, trying to reconcile the happiest day of my life with the nuclear explosion that detonated right in the middle of it. I need to get this out of my system. I need to put this into words. Because honestly, when I tell my friends, even the ones who were there, they look at me like I'm describing a plot from a soap opera that got rejected for being too unrealistic. But it happened. Every single second of it happened. To understand the climax, you have to understand the prologue. You have to understand the woman who gave birth to me. Let's call her Victoria. Victoria has always operated under a very specific, twisted philosophy. Family is not a bond of love. It is a chain of command. In her world, sharing blood means she owns you. It means she can treat you with disdain, manipulate your emotions, and sabotage your happiness. And you are contractually obligated by biology to take it. Growing up, there was a pattern. It was predictable as the tides, but destructive as a hurricane. Whenever something good happened to me, whenever the spotlight shifted even an inch in my direction, Victoria would manufacture a crisis. I remember my high school graduation. It wasn't a celebration of my academic achievement. In her narrative, it was the day I abandoned her. She spent the entire dinner sobbing into her napkin, loud enough for 3 tables over to hear, talking about how I was too good for this family now that I was going to university out of state. Then there was my college graduation. I had worked 2 jobs to pay for it, graduated with honors. And during my speech, I thanked my professors and my friends. Because I didn't dedicate the entire speech to her sacrifices. She threw a fit in the parking lot, screaming that I was an ungrateful parasite. When I landed my first real corporate job at 24, instead of being proud, she spent weeks telling our extended relatives that I was getting arrogant and forgetting my roots. She poisoned the well before I could even offer anyone a drink. But the worst part wasn't the insults. It was the victimhood. Victoria was a Picasso of playing the victim. When I moved out at 22, she told the neighbors I had kicked her while she was down. When I started dating seriously, she would find ways to insert herself, calling my girlfriends to share humiliating childhood stories or inventing drama at family barbecues just to see if she could make me crack. She thought I was oblivious. She thought I was her soft, pushover son who would always come crawling back for approval. But she was wrong. I wasn't oblivious. I was observant. I spent the entirety of my 20s building a fortress. Every career move, every promotion, every financial decision was calculated with one goal in mind: independence. I needed to be in a position where she held no leverage, no financial strings she could pull, no emotional buttons she could press. I became a hoarder of information. I started documenting. It sounds paranoid, I know. Who keeps a dossier on their own mother? But I saved text messages. I recorded voicemails where her tone shifted from sweet to demonic in seconds. I kept a journal of her lies. I wasn't planning to use them. I just knew, deep down in my gut, that one day she would push too far. One day, the monster would come out of the cage, and I would need a weapon to put it back in. Victoria had a superpower. The lie. She could construct elaborate fictions about people. My dad, my sister, anyone who defied her. She would take a grain of truth, maybe 5% reality, and build a 95% fantasy around it. She was patient, too. She would gather details for months, tracking schedules and taking photos, just to weaponize that data later. Fast forward to 3 weeks ago. I'm 29 now. I'm standing at the altar with Lena, the most incredible woman I have ever known. The ceremony was flawless. The kind of wedding you see in magazines, sunlight filtering through the old oaks, the smell of jasmine in the air, the look in Lena's eyes when she said, "I do." We moved to the reception. We are 2 hours in. The sun has set. The string lights are glowing. The champagne is flowing, and I feel weightless. For the first time in my life, the cloud of my mother isn't hovering over me. She wasn't there. 6 months ago, she decided to go to war over the wedding planning. She wanted control over the venue, the guest list, the menu. When I set a boundary, telling her she couldn't crash our vendor meetings uninvited, she exploded. She screamed that Lena was poisoning me, that I was choosing a stranger over the woman who birthed me. I gave her a choice: respect my fiancé or don't come. She chose spite. She boycotted the wedding. She spent weeks trying to rally the aunts and uncles to boycott too. Thankfully, my dad, Thomas, and my sister, Sarah, refused to play her game. Having them there, despite the hell she put them through at home, meant the world to me. So there I am. The DJ announces the cake cutting. The mood is electric. And then I feel it, the vibration in my pocket. I pull out my phone. The screen lights up with her name, Mom. My stomach dropped. I should have ignored it. I should have turned the phone off and thrown it into the punch bowl. But curiosity is a dangerous thing. And maybe, just maybe, a tiny, foolish part of me hoped she was calling to say congratulations. Maybe she had realized she was missing the biggest day of her son's life and wanted to make peace. Big mistake. I stepped away from the dance floor, finding a quiet corner near the catering tent. I swiped answer. Hello. There was no hello. No congratulations. No quotums. I need $10,000, she hissed. Her voice was manic, breathless, like a cornered animal. Transfer it to my account right now. Right this second. Mom, what are you talking about? I'm at my wedding. I don't care where you are, she screamed. If you don't send the money, I am going to call Lena. I'm going to tell her everything. I'm going to tell her about your Thursday nights. I frowned, confusion overriding my anger. Thursday nights? I work late on Thursdays. Usually grab takeout and go home. What are you talking about? Don't play dumb with me. She laughed, a sharp, jagged sound. I know about the Sapphire Lounge. I know about the VIP room in the back. I know you've been rotating through a harem of women there for the last year. I have the receipts, Adrian. I have videos from the bar owner. I have texts. I have proof you were cheating on Lena before you even put a ring on her finger. I stood there stunned, not by the accusation, because it was false, but by the specificity of it. She started rattling off details. She described a private table. She claimed the owner gave me special access. She named names: Tiffany, Amber, Jasmine. She described what they wore. She described drinks I supposedly bought them. It was terrifying because it was grounded in a sliver of truth. I do go to the Sapphire Lounge. It's a quiet steakhouse near my office. I go there maybe once a month to eat a burger alone and decompress after a long week. I sit at the bar, I eat, I leave. But she had taken those mundane, lonely dinners and spun them into a sordid tale of debauchery. She sounded so confident. She kept saying, I've been covering for you, Adrian. I've been protecting you. But I can't do it anymore unless you help me. I need that money. I looked back at the reception. I saw Lena laughing with her bridesmaids. I saw my dad clapping someone on the back. And here was my mother, miles away, trying to drop a nuclear bomb on my happiness for 10 grand. I started walking back toward the party, the phone still pressed to my ear. Lena saw my face. The blood had probably drained from me entirely, and she rushed over. Adrian? Honey, is everything okay? My mother heard her voice, and she got louder. Is that her? Is that the little princess? Victoria screamed through the speaker. Put her on. Or better yet, I'll call the news. I'll tell everyone what a fraud you are. Heather grabbed my arm. Adrian, who is that? What's going on? The commotion was drawing attention. Guests were turning. My best man, Chris, started walking over, looking concerned. My father-in-law frowned, setting down his drink. My mother was on a roll now. Ask him about Tiffany. Ask him about the Sapphire Lounge. I have the evidence. I've been hiding his dirty laundry for months, but I'm done. It was a nightmare scenario. I'm in a tuxedo, surrounded by everyone I love, while my mother screams accusations of infidelity through a smartphone. Lena looked devastated, confused, terrified. People were whispering. Phones were coming out. But here's the thing about enduring years of abuse. You develop a callus, and you develop a plan. I realized in that moment that this was it. This was the nuclear event I had been preparing for since I was 22. She had pushed a button. She had crossed a line from annoying mother to active threat. I didn't beg. I didn't plead. I didn't offer her the money. I walked over to the DJ booth. The DJ looked at me, confused. I motioned for the microphone. He cut the music. The sudden silence was heavy. Everyone turned to look at me. The groom, holding a phone in one hand and a mic in the other, looking like he was about to give a toast or have a breakdown. I looked at Lena. I looked at my dad. And then I looked at the phone. Mom, I said, my voice amplified through the speakers, echoing across the lawn. You're on speaker. The whole wedding can't hear you. She paused for a second, then doubled down. Good. Let them hear. Let them know what a cheater you are unless you wire me that money. I took a deep breath. The calm that washed over me was icy. Mom, I said clearly, since we are sharing stories about secret lives and hidden tracks, maybe it's time I told a story about you. What? She snapped. Let's tell everyone about your secret life. I continued, my voice steady. Let's tell them about how you have been stealing money from Dad's retirement account for the past 2 years to feed your gambling addiction. Let's tell them about the credit card you opened in his name. Let's tell them about the $15,000 you siphoned from his savings in the last 6 months alone. The silence on the other end of the line was absolute. It was the sound of a predator realizing the trap had snapped shut on its own leg. But I wasn't done. I think the guests would be interested to know, I went on, addressing the crowd now, that those trips to see your sister every Tuesday and Thursday were actually trips to the casino 3 states over. I think they'd be interested to know that you've been forging Dad's signature on loan documents. I think they'd be interested to know that the reason you are demanding $10,000 right now is because the bookies are calling the house. You could have heard a pin drop on the grass. See, my mother didn't know that a year ago, my dad, Thomas, had come to me. He was confused. Money was vanishing. He thought he was going senile, misplacing funds. He didn't want to confront her. So we investigated. We hired a forensic accountant. We hired a private investigator. We found everything. We found the secret accounts. We found the players' cards at the casinos. We found the massive debts. And the irony? The reason she knew I was at the Sapphire Lounge wasn't because I was cheating. It was because she was paranoid. She was terrified I was onto her. So she had been stalking me. She had been tracking my movements to see if I was meeting with lawyers or police. The Sapphire Lounge? That's where I met the private investigator. She had photos of me meeting a man to discuss her crimes, and in her delusion, she twisted it into an affair to use as blackmail. Mom, I said into the mic, the conversation is over. Dad knows. I know. We have the bank records. We have the photos of you at the slots. We have everything. Then, the screaming started. But it wasn't the fake, theatrical screaming of a woman scorned. It was the primal scream of someone whose world has just disintegrated. She started begging. Adrian, stop. Stop saying that. You're lying. Don't do this to me. I handed the mic back to the DJ and took the phone off speaker. I walked away from the crowd, toward the edge of the property. On the phone, she was hyperventilating. Please, don't tell your father. I can fix it. I just need one big win. I was gonna put it back. I swear. It's too late, I told her. Dad has known for months. We were waiting to see if you would come clean. We were giving you a chance to get help. But trying to blackmail me at my wedding? Threatening Lena? That's it. It's over. I hung up. When I walked back to the reception, Lena was standing there with my dad and my sister. My dad looked like he had aged 10 years in 10 minutes. But he didn't look surprised. He looked relieved. The secret was out. The rest of the reception was strange. A lot of guests left early. It's hard to dance the electric slide after witnessing a family execution. But the people who mattered, my close friends, Lena's family, they rallied around us. They saw the truth. But if I thought that was the end, I was naive. That was just the opening shot. In the 2 weeks following the wedding, I learned that a narcissist doesn't mourn the loss of a relationship. They mourn the loss of control. And when they lose control, they try to burn the village down. I ignored 40 text messages from her that first night. By morning, the narrative had shifted. Victoria began calling every single person who had attended the wedding. She spun a web of lies so intricate it was almost impressive. She told my aunts that I had set her up. She claimed I was mentally unstable and had invented a gambling addiction to humiliate her because I was angry she didn't come to the ceremony. She told her friends that my dad and I were conspiring to steal her inheritance and cut her out of family assets. But then she crossed the line. She went after Lena. 3 days post-wedding, Lena received a voicemail. It was Victoria, using a voice dripping with fake concern. She wanted to meet for coffee. She wanted to clear the air woman to woman. She said she was worried that I was painting her as a villain and that she didn't want my vindictiveness to ruin our new marriage. Lena, being the steel-spine woman she is, refused. She told Victoria that any conversation would happen with me present. Victoria didn't like that. The mask slipped. She started calling Lena's cell phone at all hours. She called Lena's office. She started asking disturbing questions. Has Adrian ever shown a temper? Is he controlling your finances? Does he isolate you from your friends? She was trying to gaslight my wife into believing I was an abuser. That was the breaking point. Dad and I had been holding back. We had the evidence of the fraud, but we hadn't filed charges yet. We wanted to give her a chance to seek treatment for the gambling. We thought, perhaps naively, that the shame would drive her to get help. But she wasn't seeking help. She was seeking revenge. We contacted our attorney. We filed formal charges for identity theft, forgery, and wire fraud. The total theft was over $23,000. We also filed for an immediate restraining order to keep her away from Lena. When the sheriff served the papers, Victoria went supernova. She called me, screaming that I was dead to her, that I was an ungrateful child destroying his mother over money. Then, in the same breath, she switched to weeping, begging me to drop the charges, promising to pay it back, claiming it was a misunderstanding. I recorded that call. I let her talk for an hour. She admitted to everything, but twisted it. She claimed taking Dad's money wasn't stealing, because wives have access to their husband's money. She claimed forging his signature was just a technicality. But then she made the fatal error. She threatened Lena again. If you don't drop these charges, she snarled, I will ruin that girl. I know people in this town. I will tell everyone what you really are. I will make sure she loses her job. I will make sure she leaves you. I interrupted her. My voice was calm, cold, and final. Mom, this call is being recorded. You just violated the restraining order we filed this morning. The attorney is adding harassment and witness intimidation to the list of charges. And by the way, the private investigator didn't just find the gambling. Silence. He found the other stuff too. I lied. Well, partially lied. He found the insurance fraud from 5 years ago. The jewelry claim? We know about that too. She hung up instantly. For 4 days, there was radio silence. Dad told me she locked herself in the guest bedroom. She stopped posting on Facebook. She stopped calling relatives. I should have been relieved, but I wasn't. Silence from Victoria is not peace. It is the eye of the storm. She was planning. She was cornered, humiliated, and facing prison time. A cornered animal is the most dangerous kind. I was right to be nervous. 1 week later, she launched her counteroffensive. It was a coordinated, scorched earth campaign designed to isolate me and force me to drop the charges. She went for the jugular. My in-laws. She called Lena's parents, sobbing. She spun a horrific tale. She told them I had severe anger management issues that the family had covered up for years. She claimed that my father and I were actually the ones abusing her, and that we were using the legal system to silence her. She painted herself as a martyr, the protective mother trying to save her daughter-in-law from a monster. Lena's parents called us, terrified. They didn't know what to believe. Then, she called Lena's workplace. She didn't leave her name, but identified herself as a concerned relative. She told HR that Lena might be in a domestic violence situation and that they should be on the lookout for signs of abuse. She messaged Lena's 3 best friends on Instagram. Long, detailed paragraphs about how worried she was, citing specific, fabricated instances of my controlling behavior. It was brilliant in its cruelty. She never accused me of hitting anyone. That would be too easy to disprove. Instead, she used buzzwords: asterisk financial control, emotional manipulation, gaslighting, asterisk she weaponized the language of therapy against me. It put Lena in an impossible position. If she defended me too loudly, it looked like she was in denial, a classic victim response. If she stayed silent, it looked like confirmation. Lena came home one night in tears. "People are looking at me differently," she said. "My boss asked if I was okay today. My mom asked if I felt safe with you. Adrian, she's getting inside everyone's head." I held my wife, and I felt a rage so pure it burned. But I also felt ready, because here's a secret I hadn't told anyone, not even my dad. I had been waiting for this specific move for 3 years. You see, Victoria had done this before. Twice. 2 previous girlfriends. When those relationships got serious, she had launched similar whisper campaigns. She had poisoned the water until those women left, convinced I was damaged goods. After the second time, I vowed never again. I had a digital library, a vault. I had recordings going back years. I had recordings of her bragging to her sister about how she broke up my college relationship. I had recordings of her coaching my aunt on what lies to tell. And most importantly, I had a recording from 8 months ago, a conversation where she laid out her manifesto. I sat Lena down. "I need you to listen to something." I played the file. It was Victoria's voice, crystal clear. She was talking to her friend. Unaware, I was in the next room with my phone recording. "I won't let him marry her," Victoria said on the tape. Asterisk, "If he tries, I'll destroy it. I'll tell her parents he's crazy. I'll tell her friends he's abusive. It's easy. People always believe the concerned mother. I'll make her doubt him until she runs for the hills. He needs to understand that I am the only woman who will ever truly take care of him." Asterisk. Lena listened. Her tears dried up. Her expression shifted from sorrow to fury. "She planned this," Lena whispered. "She planned the whole thing. She planned it all." I confirmed. The next day, we went on the offensive. Lena played the recording for her parents. She played it for her boss. She sent the clip to her friends. But I went a step further. I called a family meeting. I invited everyone. The aunts who were siding with her. The cousins who were on the fence. My dad. My sister. I invited them to Dad's house for a Sunday barbecue. "We need to clear the air," I told them. Victoria was there, looking smug. She thought I was going to apologize. She thought the pressure had worked, and I was going to drop the charges. I stood in the living room. "I know there are a lot of stories floating around," I said. "I know Mom has told you that I'm abusive, that I'm unstable, and that these fraud charges are fake. I'm not going to argue with you. I'm just going to let you listen." I connected my phone to the Bluetooth speaker. I played the tapes. I played the tape of her admitting to the gambling debts. I played the tape of her forging Dad's signature. I played the tape of her coaching Aunt Linda on how to lie about me. And then I played the manifesto. The room listened to Victoria's voice, cold and calculating, explaining exactly how she manipulated people, how she viewed her family as pawns, and how she intended to destroy my marriage purely out of jealousy and possessiveness. My aunt, the one she had coached, started crying. My uncle stood up, looked at Victoria with disgust, and walked out the front door. Victoria turned pale. She tried to speak. "That's taken out of context. You edited that." "It's not edited, Mom." I said, "It's you. It's always been you." My father stood up. He looked at the woman he had been married to for 35 years. "I'm filing for divorce tomorrow," he said. His voice didn't shake. "You have 1 week to move out." The meeting ended. The family dispersed. The spell was broken. There's no gaslighting your way out of your own voice admitting to the crime. The legal system does not care about narcissism. It cares about evidence. And we had mountains of it. The violation of the restraining order, contacting Lena's workplace, was a nail in the coffin. The recordings of her admitting to the theft and the harassment sealed her fate. Her lawyer looked at the evidence and told her, bluntly, to take a plea deal. If she went to trial, the jury would hate her. She pleaded guilty to fraud, identity theft, and harassment. The judge was not lenient. He sentenced her to 18 months in prison, followed by 5 years of probation. She was ordered to pay full restitution to my father. She is required to attend mandatory addiction counseling and psychological therapy. And, crucially, the restraining order was made permanent. She is prohibited from contacting me, Lena, my father, or my sister for 10 years. Dad's divorce went through in record time. Because we had proof of financial infidelity, the settlement was heavily in his favor. She got her personal belongings and a small payout that barely covered her legal fees. Dad kept the house, the remaining retirement funds, and his sanity. It has been 2 months since the sentencing. The silence in my life is no longer ominous. It is peaceful. I don't worry about the phone ringing. I don't worry about what lies are being spread. The monster is in a cage of her own making. Lena and I are stronger than ever. We walked through fire in our first month of marriage, and we came out refined, not burnt. My dad is slowly rebuilding his life, reconnecting with friends he had lost because of her isolation. I look back at that moment at the wedding reception, the trembling hand holding the microphone, the fear that I was making a mistake by airing our dirty laundry. But I realize now it wasn't a mistake. It was a liberation. My mother always said family is the most important thing. She was right, but she didn't understand what family means. Real family doesn't blackmail you. Real family doesn't try to destroy you to keep you under their thumb. Sometimes protecting your true family, the one you choose, the one you build, means cutting out the rot, even if that rot shares your DNA. I spent years preparing for war. I finally fought it, and I won. I have my life back. I have my wife. I have my freedom. And that is worth every ounce of the pain it took to get here.